is millennia old. You all, when you came in...
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Wow, right? This is very powerful and disturbing what we just saw. We're on the 21st century, and the attempts to undermine Israel's rights to exist are still very pervasive and yet so puzzling. But well, hello everyone. Thank you very much for being here. My name is Soledad Cedro, and I'm proudly both a Latina and a journalist. It is true that when it comes to understanding Israel, there is no substitute for first-hand experience. And that's exactly what I had with AJC Project Interchange. I am originally from Argentina, where we have a very large Jewish community, but I never had the chance to go to Israel until, obviously, the possibility of going with Project Interchange. I went in 2013 on a delegation of Latino journalists that was conducted with AJC's Belfer Institute for Latino and Latin American Affairs. And let me tell you that it was an incredible journey and an amazing experience what we had there. As a journalist myself, the trip was a very good opportunity to connect with people who are living in one of the most contested places on planet Earth. And seeing Israel firsthand and being able to put faces to all those stories was an incredibly important experience for myself. What I was able to see in Israel was honestly a very peaceful and diverse society. There are people, and probably most of you know it better than me, but there are people there from all kinds of backgrounds, from Arab Israelis to Jewish Israelis, to Christians, to Muslims, even Druze. And all of them are coexisting there, and actually they are just living their lives in a very normal way, or at least very normal for what we are used to here in Western society. And yet, as a journalist, let me tell you that the media doesn't show this. They don't show this side of Israel. All we hear when we hear about Israel here in the Western society is about the conflict and about the threats of attacks in and on Israel. Unfortunately, when we read newspapers or when we see the TV news stations, we don't see daily life, we don't see the high quality of living, and the truth about how Israelis really feel about their life. That is never covered by media. And why? Well, I personally think that it's because it does not fit the model of what media wants to show. So when I was there and when I saw this other side of Israel, I was inspired, therefore, to document the real life in Israel. I did it for the Spanish-speaking community here in the US, that was the audience that I was working for. So I produced a 5-part Spanish language series that we called Israel Mucho Más que una Guerra, or what in English means Israel Much More Than a War. With the invaluable help of Project Interchange, I was able to interview a range of incredible people, from very important people who were directly involved in the peace negotiations between Israelis and Palestinians, to everyday citizens, to normal citizens, who actually were the ones who shed light in the fact that, unfortunately, the conflict is part of their lives, but most importantly, that the conflict is not the only part of their lives. When we did this series, this 5-part series, our main goal was to show that there is so much more going on in Israel than what people might think. It is a complex society with, of course, historical and religious ties to the land and to the holy sites, but it is also an incredibly innovative culture that is leading the world in cutting-edge technology, an entrepreneurial spirit that actually you don't see anywhere else, not even here in the States you see that spirit. The audience reaction when we showed this 5-piece news series was actually truly amazing. We received so much good feedback, positive feedback on this. And I think that in a way our video was able to debunk preconceived notions and show our viewers that there's a real life in Israel and how the real life in Israel is. And I'm very proud to tell you that thanks to this work that we were able to do, thank you to Project Interchange, we received an Emmy Award, and this was something very good. Thanks. Thank you very much. Surprisingly, as I told you, this was a 5-part series. And the last part was supposed to be something very light, was on Friday, so we said it's going to be a light story. And that was the most popular news installment that we did. And it was a story about nightlife in Tel Aviv. Well, most probably you know why, because you've been there. But many people, my TV station was at that moment was based in Miami, and many people there, they started sending me emails telling me that they didn't even know, they had no idea that there was this aspect in Israel's life, that people were actually enjoying life there, that this even existed. And of course, for your reaction, I can tell that you know that this exists. I know it as well now. So this was very surprising to me, and it was good to see that people were able to find out about that. Before I traveled to Israel, many people told me that I was going to have an amazing experience and that there was a very special energy in this place. And it's not that I didn't believe them, but to be honest, I wasn't sure if I was going to have this same reaction being there. But after being in Israel with Project Interchange, I can tell you that I definitely felt that energy. It's something that it's very hard to put into words, but regardless of your faith, regardless of your personal beliefs, when you're in Israel, you know that something is going on there, something sacred and beautiful in this land is different, and there's a different energy there, and you can feel it. And I felt very much at home in Israel, even though I'm not Jewish, but I felt that I have very deep connections to this place. And I think that this is something that most of us can relate to when we are in Israel. And as a proud Latina and journalist, I'm definitely looking forward to going back to Israel to have another wonderful journey. And I want to thank everyone here, to take this opportunity to thank everyone here who made it possible for me to fall in love with Israel and its people. So thank you very much to Project Interchange.
My name is Ian Cockcroft, and in a few short days, I will graduate from UCLA. Thank you. I grew up in Cambria, California, a small town of 6,000 people. My high school was half white and half Hispanic, and none of the students were Jewish. My first interaction with the Jewish community took place when I was 19. My roommates would invite me to Shabbat dinners and other campus events, and through them, I started to learn about the Jewish community. A couple of years ago, I was involved in UCLA student government when SJP, Students for Justice in Palestine, put Lauren Rogers, a fellow student, on trial through the UCLA Judicial Board for her participation in an AJC Project Interchange educational seminar to Israel. I was shocked that a student and a dedicated leader was being dragged through such an absurd and harmful trial just for visiting Israel. I understood the extreme injustice in Lauren's case, and I wanted to step up to defend her rights and freedoms as a student, but also because they represented the rights of all students to learn, travel, and experience another society. Isn't that what college should be about? So as a fellow student, I represented Lauren in her trial, and with great help from a pro bono team of lawyers from the AJC, we won in a unanimous ruling. But from the moment the trial ended and Lauren prevailed, I knew I wanted to be there in whatever capacity I could, to advocate for the Jewish and pro-Israel communities on campus. It should be a guaranteed right that no matter what, all students are empowered and made to feel safe on campus. After the trial, I studied abroad in Spain. Interestingly, no one on campus had any problem with that type of study program, or any other for that matter, unless it involves Israel. And while in Spain, I applied to go to Israel with Project Interchange. I wanted first-hand knowledge of Israel, and I knew Project Interchange was the best choice. We met with leaders from all across the political spectrum, including Arab Israelis, Jewish Israelis, Christians, and Palestinians. But due to the typical media portrayal, I thought Jerusalem would be contentious. Instead, I experienced serenity and peace. In Ramallah, I expected poverty. Instead, I saw construction on every block. On campus, those pushing BDS tried to portray the situation as oppressor versus oppressed. On our trip, we met with a representative of the Palestinian Authority who engaged in a PowerPoint propaganda war, lacking context or nuance. But we also met with Israel's Dr. Tal Becker, who spoke about trying to achieve peace through dialogue. The difference was so clear to me and so descriptive of the situation on campus: propaganda versus dialogue. I've been on campus when it has been very difficult for pro-Israel students. I was inspired to help support the pro-Israel community by protecting the rights of all students. Therefore, I drafted a student council amendment to block resolutions that harm communities on campus, including the Jewish and pro-Israel communities. I'm proud to say that the amendment passed in a 9-4 vote. In effect, the amendment prevents the Student Council from engaging in harmful activity like BDS. It is fitting that my connections with Project Interchange and Israel are resilient and strong, much like the culture and society of Israel and the Jewish people. Although I'm not part of the Jewish community, I am part of the pro-Israel community. As a proud Project Interchange alumnus and graduating UCLA Bruin, I look forward to continuing to work with the Jewish and pro-Israel communities in whatever way I can. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Boker Tov, Sabah al-Khair. My name is Abe Hawk, and I too am a Project Interchange alum. But unlike most alumni, by the time I was invited to participate, to go on the program's trip to Israel in December of 2015, I had already been an admirer and a supporter of Israel for years. This, despite the fact that I was born in Jordan to Arab Muslim parents, both of whom were born in mandatory Palestine. I was raised and educated in the standard poisoned milieu of hatred and rejectionism that is the lot of so many Arab and Muslim children. My journey out of that culture of hatred for Israel and everything Jewish began when I came to the United States for study as a teenager, and it continues today. So when I joined a group of North American community leaders, Muslim leaders, on a Project Interchange trip to Israel, the cause of the Jewish state had become my cause, and the Jewish people have become my people. I had already visited Israel privately before, and I thought I knew what to expect. But I never imagined how quickly and profoundly this 10-day experience would transform the views of the other Arab and Muslim delegates. They were born in Syria, Egypt, India, and Pakistan. I watched the delegation go through a series of culture shocks in witnessing firsthand the civic and physical achievement of Jews living proudly in their homeland. I observed their incredulous relief at experiencing the civility and hospitality of a people they had been taught to believe are the most malevolent in the world. I was with them as they met, conversed, prayed with Israeli Arabs who did not hide their pride in their Israeli citizenship. And I was also there when some of them broke down in tears at hearing and seeing what Israel was doing to help hundreds of their injured Arab brethren who had crawled over the border fence from the hell of Syria. Late one night, 4 Arab-born men, 2 Syrians, 1 Egyptian, and I, sat at a table in the lobby of our Jerusalem hotel and talked excitedly past midnight at the miracle that is Israel. Every member of the delegation was transformed by this trip. I know this because I witnessed it during and after the trip. But I was also transformed by the trip. Having firsthand awareness of the depth and intensity of the hatred taught to Arab children about Jews in general and Israel in particular, I had despaired that anything or anyone could make a dent in that hatred, not to mention break it. But in AJC's Project Interchange, I caught a glimpse of a path to that, of how the seed of a collective change of attitude in the Arab and Muslim worlds could be planted. Through the careful selection of opinion shapers and community leaders as participants in this transformative experience, Project Interchange manages to reach the communities in which these leaders live and work. In more than one way, 6 months later, I'm still on my Project Interchange journey, meeting new and old alumni here, thinking about how to make the program more effective, and looking for recruits amongst Arab and Muslim community leaders. I'm preoccupied with Project Interchange, my wife tells me. Why? Because it has given me hope. In what I thought was really a hopeless situation. The hope that someday a significant part of my other people, the Arabs, would open their eyes and hearts to the light issuing out of Israel. And for that invaluable hope, invaluable and regenerative hope, I will forever be grateful to the American Jewish Committee and to everyone, many of whom are in this audience, who made Project Interchange possible. From the bottom of my heart, thank you very much.